All right, everybody. Well, listen, I am excited about this opportunity to interview David Roman here. David is going to tell us a little bit about his career path and his education and everything else like that. So, David, thanks for being with us today on this recording.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Hey, so listen, let's start just from the beginning, which is tell us a little bit about your current occupation and career path.
Well, I've been here at Elevar. Well, I started with Elevar when there were still SFA and PDT about 3 years ago. And I worked with them. I started back in 2014. And I was just a temp at first. I did landscaping for a little bit right after college.
Okay.
And I was just, I got a little desperate. And I started working with a temp agency, and then they gave me an opportunity at SFA. You know, I was on the 1 year probation period, and after that, they brought me on. And a few years after that, PDT, SFA, and Roth partnership all got together and became Elevar. So I've been here. Actually, last week was 7 years.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And I've gotten a lot of exposure to different aspects of construction, not actual construction, but different disciplines in engineering. I've gotten exposed to various types of construction types, from wood to steel to concrete. So the last 7 years at Elevar have been very educational, to say the least.
Yeah, you've been exposed to a lot of different sides of the industry, it sounds like, huh?
Yes.
And so what's your official title? What is your job? And also tell us about your education, your college degree and things like that.
All right. Well, let's see, what do I do here? Right now I'm on a path to, okay, let's start. So I went to UC. I graduated 2013 with my degree was in architectural engineering and technology. I think that degree is now gone. It used to be the AET from the OCUS, the College of Applied Engineering. And I think that's gone now. And we got absorbed by the main campus's College of Engineering. So I think now it's just AE, just architectural engineering. But in that degree, you get exposed to not just architecture and design, you get exposed to fluid mechanics, structural engineering, a little bit of electrical engineering, and did I say fluid mechanics?
You did, yeah.
Okay, good. So fluid mechanics kind of goes into the mechanical aspect, and then the plumbing aspect. And then of course there were the design classes where you learn about construction drawings or construction documents, and there were physics, math classes. It was a good degree. The AET, now the AE degree, as far as I'm concerned, was a very strong degree to go after.
And what made you decide to go that direction instead of becoming an architect or just going straight into engineering? What was it that was intriguing to you about the architectural engineering combination like that?
Well, I wanted to understand construction more than just design. I wanted to understand how all the pieces fit together. I like, it's not really feasible yet altogether, but integrated design has always been something that I enjoyed thinking about. Just the coordination of the architectural elements, the structural elements, and then all of the MEP systems. I've always found that there could. It's really awesome when all the systems work together. being automated or that all of them talking to one another. I really think that's cool. And I figured that I would get the most exposure to all of them by going into the AET degree, where I get exposure to all of them. But yeah, that's pretty much why I went into it.
So, I mean, if you had to pick that one thing that you love the most about your job, what would it be? I mean, you've been doing this now for 7 years, and it sounds like you've gotten introduced to a lot of different dynamics of the industry, but what do you love the most?
Well, I would say I'm very lucky because of the way Elevard is structured, and I'm able to not only jump around different types of building types and use groups and construction types, but also different disciplines. So 3 months I'll be working on a multifamily project. Then the next 3 months I might get pulled into a government job. And then for another quarter I'll be working on another multifamily, or right now I'm working on an office. What are they doing? They're rehabilitating a bunch of Kroger offices in the area, so I'm working on that. I've gotten exposure to, and while working on those, I'm collaborating and coordinating with all the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical engineers in the building. So I get exposure to all those things.
So it sounds like you're not just stuck like you're strictly doing schools, or you're strictly doing hospitals, or strictly doing retail space or whatever. You guys do a little bit of everything, don't you? I mean, you still
Yeah.
have your niche as far as what you guys have done, because I know you did a bunch with FC Cincinnati, for example, and I mean, all kinds of things, right?
So yeah, Elevar's gotten exposure to some of the larger projects in the area for sure. I had a very small part in the FC project. I think I was just checking roof slopes, but that's still something I got. And then I got to go on site and jump up on the smaller roofs. So, I mean, stuff like that is just. I'm very lucky to have gone after the degree that I went after, and then landed at Elevar. That's very fortunate.
No doubt. So what would you say is the thing that you like least about your job, if there is anything?
That I like least.
Yeah, and maybe that goes hand in hand with the next question, which is, if you could change anything about your job, what would you change?
That I like the least. Well, the
Mhm.
hours are a little long,
Are they?
but I think things just need to get done.
Yeah, and I assume that you're on like salary, right? So your hours are just kind of built into it. There's an expectation that you're going to put the hours in to get the project
Yeah,
done on. And
it's about getting the project out the door. So you put the hours in that you got to put in. But that I like the least. So for a while, when I was still, well, I'm still pretty green, but I'm getting better. There was a little bit of you're going to be part of this team for a while, and you're going to be working on multifamily projects, or you're going to be working on Kroger projects, and then you do that, and then you kind of get into this very repetitive mindset of this is what this project's going to look like at the end. So then it's A, B, C, D, and then you do that for a couple of years, and you kind of get burnt out. And I mean that has happened, but the leadership here is pretty good. So when you bring that up, they'll just let you shift into a new direction, and then you can run in that direction now. Once you get burned out there, then you come back. But I guess that would be the thing that I like the least about the job. My position here, I'm a designer slash drone pilot slash I don't know, jack of all trades.
Well, it's cool that you get to try all that stuff, like doing the drone and everything. So flying it over the site locations, or through the site locations and everything,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, that well, I started it because I can't remember I think I watched a movie on Netflix, and I noticed that they had all these high angle shots, these aerial shots, and I kept yelling at my wife, "That's a drone shot. That's a drone shot." And eventually she goes, "You know, you like drones so much. Why don't you buy you a drone?" So I bought a drone, and then I started taking it out on sites and taking pictures. I would just go up like 50 feet up, take a picture, and I started bringing them onto different project meetings. And the people in the meetings would say, "Hey, who's getting these shots?" I was like, "Oh, me and my drone. We go out, take a couple shots," and then eventually kind of caught on. And then the leadership here were like, "Well, why don't we get a drone for the company so that you don't have to be using your personal drone?" So they supported me on that. Then the laws changed. Then I had to get registered, so I had to become an actual certified drone pilot.
Wow.
But yeah, this place is pretty cool.
I was gonna say, man, it sounds like you've had so many opportunities to try different things. And some of it self-driven by yourself. I mean, you've been very proactive about what you've done. That's really, really cool. Is there anything that you would change about your job if you could? I mean, anything at all?
Well, right now I'm in the process of, so I've been doing architecture mostly the last 7 years, and with snippets here and there of doing engineering. But right now I'm pursuing the FE exams.
Hmm.
Those are the fundamentals of engineering,
Okay.
which I'm technically, because of the schooling, I'm qualified to take. I don't know if I think anyone can take them as long as you pass the test. You pass the test. But my goal is to become a multidisciplined employee so that I can do architecture and then all of the well, I don't think I'd be able to do civil engineering, but for sure the other four, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural. So that's kind of what I'm going after right now. So I'm kind of being the catalyst for my own change. And I kind of started a little movement here. There's a few other employees here that have the same degree as I do, and some of them were channeled into electrical, others into mechanical. And there's already a jack of all trades in the engineering department that can do all. They can do 3 of the 4 of the 5. So I'm kind of starting that a little bit, trying to get them moving in that direction.
But by getting that added certification like that, the licensing, you're going to make yourself an invaluable addition to the team, right? Because then you can pivot with whatever project comes down the pike. And the good news is you're not the guy out there having to sell the projects. I know you guys have got some great guys that do that on your,
Yeah.
in the company. Your job is just to help get it from start to finish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I enjoy that part of it. There's some kind of I enjoy the teamwork aspect of it. I enjoy having the meetings and just deciding who's going to tackle what and which direction we're going to take it. I like that aspect of it.
So David, if you had to do it all over again, would you still go to the same college that you attended and also pursue the same degree and career path? I know you said it's changed, which also, is good to know, but would you do the same thing?
Knowing what I know now, I definitely would have stuck with the AET degree. But if I could do it all over again and I didn't have to work through college, which was tough, I would dual major into programming. I would do the engineering degree, the architectural engineering degree, and then I would minor in programming or some kind of computer science. Just because at this point, the software that we're using is becoming so, you can automate lots of things with
Wow.
code, with scripts and macros, and there's a few folk here who dived into that aspect of it. There's a gentleman here from MIT that he just grabbed all the code writing and script setting, and he's just gone, and he's just going bananas with it. And I don't really understand much about coding, but I would have loved to get into that stuff. So yeah, that would be the only thing that I would do different if I were to do it all over again. The degree is great. I met some great people on the way. I had great teachers, and yeah, that's it. That's the only real thing I would change.
Yeah. So how does the future look for the occupation and career path that you've taken? I mean, I know it sounds like you have had an incredible opportunity to be with the right company that gives you the flexibility to, do the different things that you're doing. But what's the future look like?
Well, if everything goes well, I'll be here a little bit longer. uh, well, again, I had my review a couple weeks ago, so we talked about that, the jack of all trades movement, where we're trying to get all of these AET graduates to kind of pursue certification in all these different fields, and exposure to more aspects of construction and design. So I guess if I were to look forward a little bit, I would say it would be really cool to get more people of similar mindset to push that, and to make it a I don't know how to say it, but really make it more so that entry level people kind of adopt that mindset, and they don't just want to come in, sit down, and they just get thrown red lines at them, and they don't really understand what's happening. That we're able to take them out on site, explain to them, this is wood framing. Wood framing works well with these types of systems, and in multifamily this happens, and in hospitality this happens. I think in the future, I would like to kind of develop a team of jack of all trades folk with engineering and all the other disciplines to kind of help train some of the younger generation to have to be excited about doing more than just architecture as their main focus. That's it. I think
Okay.
that's, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, what you're saying is by being that multidisciplinary person, you really are then able to look at projects in a totally different way, aren't you?
It helps. I think it does help a little bit to want to know more about what you're doing. If you there, so when I first started, there were a couple folk that would say, they'll figure it out, and that kind of bothered me always. I was like, well, just let them figure it out. Let's see if we can help them get there too. So that's kind of my approach to it a little bit. Let's just learn a little bit more about what they're doing so that we can make it easy for them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, so what final advice would you give to any of my students who are considering going into a similar profession or a similar degree program in college?
In college, well, work ethic is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta show up. You gotta stay focused. Make your payments on time. I know that dinged me a couple times.
Make your payments for what?
For school.
Oh.
Those tuition payments were rough.
Well, and you said that you worked your way through school. So, I mean, talk about that for just a minute. So you literally were working and going to school at the same time, huh?
Yeah. So a lot of my classmates actually had jobs in the industry already. They were either kids of a contractor or cousins of an architect or something like that. So they kind of got exposed. I didn't have any of those things. So I had to work at DHL. First I did security for a little bit. And then I worked at DHL. I worked the night shift. and that was a 10 to 6 job. And then I would go home, take care of the dog, and then run to school. But they had tuition reimbursement, which was pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was really the hard part. If I remember my last year in school, I told my mom that, hey, I'm gonna try to do this with no work. So I'm gonna not work, just focus on my capstone project, make sure that that's good, and some of the co-ops. So the UC offers a co-op program,
Mhm.
which is super helpful to get some of the added experience that someone like me who didn't have connections going into school can actually get some decent exposure and learn a little bit and kind of get a pretty good feel of what professional life once you get out of school is going to be like. And it also puts a little bit of extra money in your pocket that you can save that for a tuition payment later. But I mean, that was my experience. I had a couple of good co-ops. I got to go to Arkansas, so that was fun.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I worked for Kroger. I worked on some smaller firms up in Dayton. And then before, I think it was my second or third co-op, I actually worked with BHDP downtown. Yeah, and then what was the one? It was Brown and Bill's Architecture in just north of Dayton. But I got exposure to a lot of different types of projects, small scope, large scale, sorry. But I don't know, I think the AET program at UC was pretty good. I guess now AE program was pretty good. And yeah, I don't think I would do anything different other than maybe minor into something else that kind of brings everything together. Programming would have been good.
Yeah, and it sounds like, again, you're on a mission to try to help new graduates coming in to have a better shot at understanding the whole scope of things, and also what the potential is. But I love the fact that what you said is, hey, it comes down to your work ethic. I mean, let's not forget, and we should share this. We're sitting here we started this interview at about 7 a.m., but you've already been up since 5, right? So you've been going already. First, it's not like rolling out of bed, oh, I'll get to work at, say, 10 o'clock and do things. I mean, you're starting early and staying late to get things finished, right?
That's what it takes. That's what it takes to make it. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I've been so the past, since I started working here, I started watching all these like motivational people, the people that are out there telling you, you go after it, go get it. Don't wait for it to come to you. You have to go grab it. And it's there were a lot of fears of insecurities that you kind of come out of college with, because you're not really like first day on the job, right? You think you just got hired on, you think you're a hot shot, you think you're gonna crush it, and you know nothing, and you're terrified and you don't know what's going on. So you can either do two things. You can either say, this is too much, I need something easier, or you can try and fill the shoes. And so that's kind of what I've been trying to do. I'm still a couple sizes too small, but I'm still trying. So, and that kind of all stems into the whole learning all the various disciplines, so I can become better around it. So I don't know. That's how I feel about the whole thing.
David, that is a great way for us to end this interview, and I can't thank you enough. I mean, again, the students that are going to be watching this are students who are looking at going into the architectural engineering degree program. And also, I know UC definitely comes up. I refer to UC's engineering program all the time, specifically because of the co-op. I mean, I love the fact that they've got co-op built into their curriculum and all those kinds of things. But I can't thank you enough for taking this time to do this interview with me today, and for just all the great advice and things that you shared with my students. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries. It was good.